Hi y'all, I'm Tara with Progress Texas, and I'm here in Brownsville, Texas with the Angry Tias and Abuelas, and I'm so excited to speak with y'all. Do you mind introducing yourself really quickly?
Sure, I'm Joyce Hamilton.
And I'm Madeline Sandiford.
And what is the mission of the Angry Tias, and how did y'all get involved?
Well, our mission is to protect the safety and health of the asylum seekers at the border and to do what we can to preserve their dignity and bring justice to their lives. And that's not the exact wording of our mission that you'll see on our webpage, but that is the gist of our purpose. And we did start June 3rd of 2018, about a year and a half ago, by going to check out the status of some people on the Reynosa Hidalgo Bridge south of McAllen. And that's where we found 40 people in need sleeping for 5 days on the walkway. That was the beginning of what became 10 days later Angry Tias and Abuelas. That's when we named ourselves.
That's great. And so I remember y'all told me it was kind of like at first friends of friends kind of coming together to help out.
Exactly.
How did that develop into really an entire organization?
Right, well, in the beginning we were just 7 of us. Joyce called me and I immediately said yes, I want to be part of that effort. We started recruiting volunteers because we're so spread out in the Rio Grande Valley. Some of us live closer to Brownsville, some others live closer to McAllen, and so we needed help in all of these locations.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, especially with the different bridges and the different places that people are having to camp out really when they're seeking asylum. What do you wish and what do you want people to know about the border and about what's going on here?
Well, I would say that I want people to know that the living conditions are really quite abhorrent for up to 2,000 people right now who are living and sleeping in little pup tents, which thank goodness were provided to them through volunteer efforts, mostly by Team Brownsville, our partner. Otherwise, they would have been out in the open, sleeping in the conditions and the elements. So I really want people to know that when the ICE or Border Patrol, primarily when Border Patrol releases people at the bridge and sends them back into Mexico as part of the Migrant Protection Protocols or the Remain in Mexico program, it is faulty to believe that they will be going to shelter, because there is virtually no shelter that can handle this number of people. There is a small shelter, which is a basketball court facility in Matamoros that the city has set up to provide some shelter for the migrants, but it can only handle up to 300 people. And it's too far from the bridge for the people to get to their asylum court dates. So many of them have just said even if they wanted to be in there, they can't do it because they're afraid they won't be able to get to their court date on time.
Absolutely. And you touched on the Migrant Protection Protocols or the Remain in Mexico program. Can you say a little bit about what this program is and what it means for these people?
Well, it means that when they first arrive and through metering finally cross the bridge to even register themselves with the Border Patrol, they are given a court date and they are sent back immediately to a zone that has been designated by our own State Department as being dangerous and don't go there. And so we send them back to these dangers of kidnappings we have heard of, rapes, and their families are desperate, but they don't want to give up. They have come here, they have risked everything, they have left their homes where they were exposed to dangers also, and then we send them back to another dangerous zone.
And so these are asylum seekers, which means they're seeking asylum because they're fleeing danger and life-threatening or life-challenging, very challenging situations in the cities and towns and villages that they've come from. So they've made a long trek and a dangerous trek for many of them, to a border where they had hoped to receive asylum. And instead what's happening is they're being thrown right back into a fairly dangerous and unaccommodating, very unaccommodating area. So I think, you know, one thing that is not being mentioned much that people need to be aware of is that we're personally aware now in the last few weeks of parents taking their small children up to the international line on the walkway and turning them over to Border Patrol and asking them to take care of them, because they don't have hope for their children being able to get to those families that they have in the United States. So it's become quite dire, and those are not parents who don't care about their children. They're weeping after they do it. So this is a Sophie's choice that they've been thrown into, and I think the American people need to be aware that this is, you know, they may be out of sight and out of mind for many people who think that this is a great option and a great policy, but they're not out of sight and they're not out of mind for those of us who are going over there and to try to help them. And they shouldn't be out of sight and out of mind for the American public. They really should not. This should be an issue of morality for the American people.
When we talk about this, it's obviously heartbreaking and dire circumstances. What are some of the solutions that y'all would like to see put in place?
I would like for people to contact their congressional representatives, their congressmen, their senators, and say that we need to stop MPP. Whatever it takes, it needs to be stopped.
You know, just a few months ago, we were meeting people at the bus stations where they were being released to go to their families where they could await their asylum court date. And that's a humane way of doing this, and we know that there are far better ways than what's happening right now.
So if people are watching this and they really want to get involved, they really want to help, especially the Angry Tias, how can they get involved and how can they help?
Well, I would say go to our website. There's a donate button on there. We're continuing to purchase clothing and supplies for the people that are stuck in MPP.
Financial contributions allow us to buy those hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of supplies in Mexico. Thousands, I'm sorry. Yes. Madeline handles the finances. She knows it's a lot more than hundreds.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for your work. What comes next? I've got to ask.
Well, I think, you know, what comes next is trying to end this migrant protection protocol policy so that we can help people to come into this country. And I mean, some of the people I've met, I would love to have as my neighbors. I would love to have them in my church with me. They're people that I'd love to work with. The next step, I hope, will be one where the law will change and people will come in and we will be ready to take them into our communities and become neighbors with them. So that's my pie in the sky hope, but I think that we're very focused on that now.
Right.
And those detainees who are in detention that Madeline works with every day, who have been kept for as long as 2 years in some cases, never committed a crime, just simply can't get out because of legal needs, and that's something Madeline's working very hard on with a legal fund.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for your work. We so appreciate it.
Well,
Thank you for talking with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you
For the opportunity.